Britain, 2010. An estimated 4.2 million cameras, one camera for every 14 people, operate on a day-to-day basis, watching every move of your lifestyle. The Surveillance Society predicts by 2016 that shoppers will be scanned as they enter stores. Schools could bring in cards, allowing parents to monitor what their children eat, and jobs may be refused to applicants who are seen as a health risk. But where could this obsession with surveillance have stemmed from? The Panopticon, designed in 1785 by Jeremy Bentham, acts as the earliest platform of surveillance. A building designed for the sole purpose of allowing the observer to watch an incarcerated being without their awareness, conveying the sentiment of an invisible omniscience. As Bentham described the Panopticon design as a new mode of obtaining power of mind over mind, in a quantity hitherto without example, Bentham's original idea derived from the plan of a military school in Paris designed for easy supervision, itself conceived by his brother Samuel, who arrived at it as a solution to the complexities involved in the handling of large numbers of men. The design was invoked by Michel Foucault in his book Discipline and Punish, as a metaphor for modern disciplinary societies and a pervasive inclination to observe and normalise. Foucault proposes that not only prisons, but all hierarchical structures like the army, schools, hospitals and factories have evolved through history to resemble Bentham's Panopticon. Has this now become a reality over the centuries, as the autocracy has gained a stronghold over society? Due to different tactics in political view and power, has or is an urban panopticon emerging, and has society been sleepwalking and enslaved to a brutal sleep? Predictions have been conceived, but most disturbing of all is George Orwell's novel 1984. His profound awareness of social injustice, revolutionary opposition to totalitarianism, and a passion for clarity in language and a belief in democratic socialism. Since 1984 was first published in 1949, certain concepts have been adopted, such as mass surveillance and incessive public mind control, which comes in the form of the media. Why is it now that this past realisation has been adopted into recent society?
To me personally, I think they know too much about you when too much surveillance about, you know what I mean?
Kind of, in some circumstances it can be taken too far lately, but I don't think it really interferes, so, you know, as long as it's doing more good than it is harm.
I've been mugged once, and it was in an area that didn't have any surveillance, so I think the more the better, really.
You know, you don't necessarily need to be monitoring their computer or anything within their home, but just out on the street like here, there's not really any problem with it, I don't think.
I think generally it does make me feel safer. I suppose the places where I go to, etc., I'm not particularly out very, very late at night, but generally I would like to think that it makes surveillance technology makes me feel safer.
"9/11 created a justification for a crusade and war on terror. As ideologies had failed, faith in governments began to slip. The use of the threat of terrorism allowed for new moral authority. A creation of an organised terrorist group by the umbrella name of Al-Qaeda acted as the new enemy that would need to be vanquished by the Western world, specifically America. It wasn't long until other attacks spread to Europe, with a similar routine by various European governments to use these incidents as a platform for a new holy war. This fear turns to paranoia, leading to a reassurance from government to protect us from this new enemy by extreme security measures, such as an increase in surveillance technology and protocol. To quote Adam Curtis, "In an age when all the grand ideas have lost credibility, Fear of a phantom enemy is all the politicians have left to maintain their power.
But we can make choices in spending too. And instead of wasting hundreds of millions of pounds on compulsory identity cards as the Tory right demand, let that money provide thousands of extra police officers on the beat where they can actually protect people. We think it is legitimate and right in this day and age to ask people to carry identity cards. It is the right thing to do.
I think it's a difficult question, that, but I think there is, in my opinion, there is too much power from surveillance, watching everything, every move, etc., etc., I think it's too much.
I guess, yeah, definitely. Such as airport security, etc., I suppose, could be quite intrusive, or could be construed as being quite intrusive. And used wrongly, which is always that chance that it's going to be done, then I guess it could be a bit of a problem.
The elevation of security within airports, some might say, was caused by the 9/11 attacks. September 6th, 1970, 5 passenger aircraft bound for New York were hijacked by members of the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine, occurring in the context of the Arab-Israeli conflict. This was the beginning of tightened security measures on air travel, which would eventually become more extreme due to the more recent events in social history and what we have become susceptible to. The biometric system also allows for specific personal profiles on civilians to be accessed by agencies with authority.
Hey. Get him! He's got a gun! Cut him off that way! Over there! Hold it! He's over there! Don't move! Get away!
Yes, yes, definitely, yeah, I agree with that, yeah.
I suppose the ubiquity of reality television has made people want to watch people.
A major concern is the way in which the internet has become one of the last places to start becoming regulated. Has it been realised that there is potential for a platform of pure democracy in which people can utilise the internet as a tool against oppression? Some argue it's a purpose-built surveillance system.
But I think the rest of the world recognizes that the internet is perhaps more a surveillance system than it is a platform for democracy, and that it's in fact the people who would use that platform, that surveillance system against those in power, that could help empower democracy.
No, very rare, very rare.
Yeah, I think it does. I think that, in your head you've always got your kind of private space.
Yes, I think it does still exist,
I think generally privacy as it was a few years ago doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, definitely. I know that not everything I've done in my life is known by a lot of people. So I still think you have your private moments. There's no surveillance in your bedroom and in your house.
The world is going through a phase, a transitional construct of civilization. In comparison to the 5 stages of grief model created by Kubler-Ross, starting with denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance, it seems humanity has reached the anger stage. As the capitalist system struggles to regain its iron fist over the Western world, humanity strives towards a revolution of the mind, forward towards a libertarian communism that advocates the abolition of the state, private property and capitalism in favour of common ownership of the means of production and direct democracy. Although the future is uncertain, as it is always in the balance, visions of the future, such as equilibrium, consist of taking away the human condition for a perfectly balanced society. But there is also the extremist view of an oppressive dystopia envisaged by the films 1984 and V for Vendetta, of which all lead to the logical conclusion of revolution.